House will come back to order. Reports of committees of reference.
The Committee on Appropriations, after consideration on the merits, the committee recommends the following: Senate Bill 56 be amended as follows: necessary to be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation. Senate Bill 206 referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation. Senate Bill 210 amended as follows: necessary to refer to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation. Senate Bill 222 postponed indefinitely. Senate Bill 282 referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation. Senate Bill 288 referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation. Senate Bill 290 amended as follows: necessary to be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation.
Signing of bills, resolutions, and memorials.
The Speaker has signed.
Remainder of the report will be printed in the journal. Message from the Senate.
Madam Speaker, the Senate has postponed indefinitely.
Remainder of the message will be printed in the journal. Announcements and introductions. Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. I move special orders to be heard on the following bills today, May 5th at 6 p.m. regarding Senate Bill 56, Senate Bill 206, Senate Bill 210, Senate Bill 282, Senate Bill 290, Senate Bill 288, Senate Bill 283, Senate Bill 271, and Senate Bill 276.
Seeing no objection, the following bills read by the Majority Leader will be made into a special orders calendar. Mr. Assistant Majority Leader. You have heard the motion. If there are no objections, the Assistant Majority Leader, Representative Moreno, will take the chair.
The committee will come to order. With your unanimous consent, the bills will be read by title unless there is a request for reading a bill at length. Committee amendments will not be read unless requested, as they are printed and in your bill folders. Floor amendments will be shown on the screen and on your iPads and not read unless requested. Bills will be laid over upon motion of the majority leader, and the coat rule is relaxed. Mr. Kohler, please read the title of Senate Bill 56.
Senate Bill 56 by Senator Kerr, also Representative Kraft-Tharp, concerning reducing the frequency of administering the statewide assessment in social studies.
Representative Kraft-Tharp.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I move Senate Bill 15056 in the Appropriations Report.
To the Appropriations Committee report.
Thank you. The Appropriations Committee made an appropriations.
Is there further discussion on the Appropriation Committee report? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of the Appropriations Committee report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The Appropriations Committee report is adopted. To the bill, Representative Kraft-Tharp.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So, members, under current law, the Colorado Department of Education is required to administer an annual statewide assessment in social studies to students enrolled in 4th, 7th, and 12th grade. The House Bill 1202 Task Force convened last year to review statewide testing and has recommended a reduction. This bill responds to that request by reducing the frequency and amount of social studies assessments. This bill would allow CDE to select a representative sampling of schools within our 178 districts and request testing, which would be on a 3-year cycle. Meaning, once a school is selected, they would not be required to test their students again for another 3 years. Testing would still be conducted once in elementary, once in middle, and once in high school, but the grade level would be at the discretion of the school. Given this approach, this bill provides a savings of $540,000 per year in 15-16 and 16-17. Please support this bill to reduce some of the burden of testing, save the state money, and still capture data to measure the progress of our students as it relates to real-world 21st century skills. I ask for your support. Thank you.
Is there further discussion on Senate Bill 56? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of Senate Bill 56. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Senate Bill 56 passes. Mr. Kohler, please read the title to Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move to lay over Senate Bill 206 until the end of the special orders calendar.
Seeing no objection, Senate Bill 206 will be laid over as requested by the Majority Leader. Mr. Kohler, please read the title of Senate Bill 210.
Senate Bill 210 by Senator Woods, also Representative Arndt, concerning creation of the Title Insurance Commission.
Representative Arndt.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is Senate Bill 15210 is a good bill. It creates a 9-member commission. Sorry. I move Senate Bill 15210.
And it looks like you also have a Finance and Appropriations Committee report, Representative Arndt.
That's right. At the same time. I move the Finance Committee report. And the Appropriations Committee report.
To the Appropriations Committee report, Representative Arndt.
I know, help me here. Okay. The Appropriations Committee.
Just urge an aye on the appropriation.
Adoption of the Appropriations Committee report. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The Appropriations Committee report is adopted. To the Finance Committee report, Representative Arndt.
Thank you very much. There are 2 amendments in the Finance Committee. One was a technical amendment for the change of the bill title, and the other one was to make an appropriation $50,000, and I ask for an aye vote.
Is there further discussion on the Finance Committee report? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of the Finance Committee report. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The Finance Committee report passes. To the bill, Representative Arndt.
Thank you very much, and I urge an aye vote on Senate Bill 15210.
Is there further discussion on Senate Bill 210? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of Senate Bill 210. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Senate Bill 210 passes. Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Mr. Assistant Majority Leader. I move to proceed out of order for the immediate consideration of Senate Bill 206.
Is there objection? Seeing none, the committee will proceed out of order for consideration of Senate Bill 206. Mr. Kohler, please read the title of the Senate Bill 206.
Senate Bill 206 by Senators Roberts and Hodge, also Representatives Garnett and Kaiser, concerning phase conservation easement donation.
Representative Kaiser, Garnett. Garnett.
Thank you, Mr. Assistant Majority Leader. I move the House Finance Committee report and Senate Bill 206.
To the Finance Committee report, Representative Kaiser.
Thank you, Mr. Majority Leader. I ask for a no vote on the Finance Committee report.
Is there further discussion on the Finance Committee report? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of the Finance Committee report. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no?
No!
Finance Committee report is lost. To the bill, Representative Garnett.
Thank you, Assistant Majority Leader. It's an honor to serve with you.
And also with you.
Members, Senate Bill 206 is a great bill. It not only helps landowners across Colorado conserve their land, but it also gives the tools to the governor's office to protect the sage grouse, which is a top priority. And I would urge an aye vote.
Is there further discussion on Senate Bill 206? Representative Court.
Mr. Assistant Majority Leader, did we just remove a 3-year sunset from a bill that went through the Finance Committee?
Representative Court, the General Assembly in 2018 is going to thank us.
How could we have done this? My legend is in jeopardy.
To Senate Bill 206, Representative Kaiser.
Thank you, Mr. Majority Leader. Representative Court, it's for the kids. So.
Is there further discussion on Senate Bill 206? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of Senate Bill 206. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Senate Bill 206 passes. Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Assistant Majority Leader. I move Senate Bill 282 and ask for an aye vote.
Is there further discussion on Senate Bill 2? Oh, thank you, Mr. Kohler. Mr. Kohler, please read the title of the Senate Bill 282.
Senate Bill 282 by Senators Scott and Johnson, also Representatives Duran and Willett, concerning the establishment of a rural jumpstart program in highly distressed counties in the state for new businesses to bring new jobs to the state in connection with making appropriation.
Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Assistant Majority Leader. I move Senate Bill 282.
Is there further discussion on Senate Bill 282? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of Senate Bill 282. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Senate Bill 282 passes. Mr. Kohler, please read the title of the Senate Bill 290.
Senate Bill 290 by Senator Todd, also Representative Wilson, concerning creation of the Colorado Student Leaders Institute in connection with making appropriation.
Representative Wilson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Assistant Majority Leader. I move Senate Bill 290 with the committee reports.
To the Appropriations Committee report, Representative Wilson.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. The Appropriations Committee report simply lowered the fiscal note to match the amount of dollars that were mentioned in the bill, and I would urge an aye vote.
Is there further discussion on the Appropriations Committee report? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of the Appropriations Committee report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The Appropriations Committee report is adopted. To the bill, Representative Wilson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Folks, this bill went through one time, sailed through our chamber, sailed through the committees, went to the other chamber, and for some reason unbeknownst only to God, they decided they didn't want to go that route, so we got a late bill status in the Senate, started it over there, got it over here. I would urge an aye vote. It is for the kids.
Is there further discussion on Senate Bill 290? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of Senate Bill 290. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Senate Bill 290 passes. Mr. Kohler, please read the title to Senate Bill 288. Oh, Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Assistant Majority Leader. I move Senate Bill 288 to the end of the special orders calendar.
Seeing no objection, Senate Bill 288 will be laid over to the end of the special orders calendar. Mr. Kohler, please read the title of the Senate Bill 283.
Senate Bill 283 by Senator Woods, also Representative Lee, concerning debt collection proceedings in connection with increasing the scope and value of assets that may be exempted, clarifying definitions of earnings, and specifying the procedure for service and notice of exemption, and pending levy and certain garnishment proceedings.
Representative Lee.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This bill just passed through committee today with unanimous consent. It passed through the Senate. I move House Senate Bill 283.
Thank you, Representative Lee. Is there further discussion on Senate Bill 283? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of Senate Bill 283. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Senate Bill 283 passes. Mr. Kohler, please read the title of Senate Bill 271.
Senate Bill 271 by Senator Sonberg, also Representative Becker J., concerning the continuation of the entities charged with representing the interests of certain utility consumers in matters heard by the Public Utilities Commission.
Representative Becker J.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I appreciate that. I move Senate Bill 271 in the Transportation Committee report.
To the Transportation Committee report, Representative Becker.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Inside of the committee members, they put on an amendment to include telecom. I would ask for a no vote on the Transportation Committee report.
Is there further discussion? Representative Winter.
She's fast.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I asked for an aye vote on the Transportation Committee report for several reasons. The first is there are 7 cases pending before the OCC around telecom. If you are voting no on this committee report, you're voting no for those consumers and for the OCC that have brought those cases before the PUC. Those cases will go away with your no vote tonight. That's the first reason to vote for the committee report. The second is we have the high cost fund. And yes, the high cost fund is going away in a couple of years, but we still have millions of dollars to spend on the high cost fund. And if we are spending money on the high cost fund to get telecom to the rural areas, the OCC deserves to be able to represent the consumer's voice in those decisions. The second is we passed major legislation last year on the deregulation of telecom. I support that deregulation, but we are going to be reviewing that deregulation in 2018. If you vote no on this committee report, you are saying that when we review the deregulation, that consumers do not deserve to have a voice at that time. The third reason that you should vote for this committee report is because during the negotiations last year, one of the things that everyone thought was important to keep in was the regulations around 911. The PUC still regulates 911, and frankly, our rural areas are paying more for 911 services. Our OCC should be able to have a voice in front of the PUC on these issues. I want to remind everyone that the OCC does not regulate. They simply provide the consumer voice in front of the PUC. If the PUC is making decisions over these decisions, the consumer voice deserves to be represented, and I urge an aye vote on the committee report.
Representative Becker. Representative Neville.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members, I urge a no vote on this committee report. Quite frankly, this bill, I probably could have been a yes, but I was a no on the bill in committee because of the committee report. So I urge a no vote on the committee report.
Representative Becker.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members, when we're looking at all those arguments as to why you should be voting for this committee report, I'll tell you that there's answers for them all. First of all, the high cost fund, which is going away, and is being transferred to the broadband fund, which the PUC does not have oversight over. Therefore, there would not be oversight from the OCC anyway. Second, when we talk about 911, there is already a 911 task force that oversees that, on top of strict FCC regulations that is taking a look at it as well. Next Gen 911 is the most overseen project that we can see right now in the telecom industry. We know how important it is. It's already moving forward with several people taking a look at it and looking out for consumer interest. That is already being done. We do not need this. 5% of the time from the OCC, 5% of their time is spent on telecom, and they said that has been shrinking. That's right, because telecom is a competitive industry that you have choices in. It's not like your public utilities. I will tell you at this time, as we're deregulating telecom, we need to make sure that we're also making sure that the OCC is focusing on the right thing, which is public utilities. I ask for a no vote on the Transportation Committee report.
Representative Tyler.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to make clear that OCC and kind of the role it plays. You know, we need a public voice over there. I don't know if any of you have ever gone and looked at a docket at the PUC. I've done that, or I've tried to do that. It's really hard to fight your way through it. It's very technical, it's very tedious, and very difficult. We need an office of the consumer to be able to look at that. And telecom is an issue here. Telecom is being deregulated in big chunks, but it's still there. It's still an issue. It's still a complicated issue to look at this. And we need somebody speaking for the consumer. It's like you went into court and you just had the prosecutor there, you know, making their case, and you didn't have the public defender there to make your case. And that's what the OCC is, the representative of the public in front of a very technical body. And while we're still doing 911, while we're still doing the ramp down, we need that office for consumers, for the public, to move forward. I urge an aye on the committee report.
Is there further discussion? Representative Esgar.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members, we heard today in committee from the past director of the Office of Consumer Counsel and the current director of the Office of Consumer Counsel from their mouth that if a consumer has a complaint right now about anything related to telecom, which still exists, they do not have a way to be able to get to the PUC effectively and have their voice heard unless it's through the Office of Consumer Counsel because of the amount of lawyers that the PUC and the Office of Consumer Counsel have that most common consumers cannot afford on their own. This Office of Consumer Counsel is an important office. We need to continue the office with telecom as a part of it. I urge a yes vote on the committee report.
Representative Becker.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members, as we deregulated telecom, it doesn't matter. They're not, even if they get a complaint, the OCC can't do anything. And there are several other, not to mention satellite phone, not to mention cell phone, not to mention broadband VoIP phone. They can't do anything there anyway because the PUC has no oversight. So what are we doing? This is a place that shouldn't be in the OCC anymore. I ask for a no vote.
Is there further discussion on the Transportation and Energy Committee report? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of the Transportation Committee report. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. No. Transportation Committee report is adopted. To the bill. Representative Becker.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members, still an important bill for the OCC to oversee public utilities. It has great board adjustments sitting inside of this bill that I know you would all love me to go through in length, but I will not. Instead, if I can find it, I would offer Amendment L010, which is just a technical amendment. No surprise, no surprises here. I was supposed to offer this in committee, but I did not. And I would move L010 and ask that it be displayed.
Boom, that just happened.
Amendment L010 has been moved and is displayed to Amendment L010. Representative Becker.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And as we did some changes to the board inside of this bill, we need to make sure that we have some dates in there so we know when they come in. And this is just a cleanup, and I would ask for an aye vote on this amendment.
Representative Esgar.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members, we agree that this is a good amendment that strengthens the bill and makes it technically sound. Urge and I vote.
Is there further discussion on Amendment L010? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of Amendment L010. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Amendment L010 is adopted. To the bill, Representative Becker.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Pretty good bill. Vote yes.
Is there further discussion on Senate Bill 271? Representative Sane.
Telecom dropout.
Further non-musical discussion on Senate Bill 271? Seeing none. The question before us is the passage of the Senate Bill 271. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Senate Bill 271 passes. Mr. Kohler, please read the title to Senate Bill 276.
Senate Bill 276 by Senators Balmer and Carroll, also Representatives Van Winkle and Lebsaw, concerning requirement that the use of red light cameras be approved by the voters of the government using the cameras.
Representative Lebsaw.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I move Senate Bill 276 and the committee report on transportation.
To the Transportation and Energy Committee report, Representative Lebsaw.
There was a two-page strike below on Senate Bill 276 that made considerable changes, and I ask for a yes vote.
Is there further discussion on the Transportation and Energy Committee report? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of the Transportation Committee report. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Transportation Committee report is adopted. To the bill, Representative Lebsaw.
I ask for a yes vote. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Is there further discussion on Senate Bill 276? Representative Rosenthal.
No, go ahead. I'm just cruising. Okay, just cruising.
Representative Rosenthal.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As a famous former Democrat once said, there you go again. My sense about this bill is it's sort of a repeat of the bill that we saw earlier. I believe that local governments should be able to make the decision as to whether they're going to have these types of safety equipment that save lives. And so this is a local decision. Should not be something that the legislature is forcing on local communities, and therefore I believe we should have a no vote on this bill.
Is there further discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of Senate Bill 276. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. No. Senate Bill 276 passes. Mr. Kohler, please read the title to Senate Bill 288.
Senate Bill 288 by Senators Baumgartner and Hodge, also Representatives Hamner and Rankin, concerning the compensation paid to certain public officials.
Representative Hamner.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move Senate Bill 288 and Senate Bill 288.
To the bill.
And Senate Bill.
Representative Hamner.
Colleagues, Senate Bill 288 is a really important bill, so I hope you're listening up. This is a bill that's been in the works probably for decades, and it has to do with salary increases for elected officials at the county, state, and General Assembly level. And I know this is a difficult conversation. I know that it puts us in a situation where there's the appearance that we're giving our own selves and our elected official friends a salary increase. But quite honestly, the Colorado State Constitution directs that, gives us that charge, that we are the people who are responsible for making sure that our compensation policies are appropriate and work for us at the county, state, and General Assembly level. If this bill passes, if Senate Bill 288 passes, and it does have bipartisan support in both chambers, our elected officials will finally get a raise after 20 years. We have a situation, and this bill came to us from our county elected officials who have a salary commission. They're coming to us with their recommendations. They've come to us with their recommendations. Their recommendations have fallen unsuccessfully for the last several attempts. They're looking to us for help. They're looking for our support. We have situations at the county level where an elected official is earning a salary that's less than the very people they employ and supervise. So that is really an untenable situation. If we look at our state elected officials receive compensation that is some of the lowest in the nation. And I think, colleagues, I think we can and we should do better. I think we all know how hard elected officials work and how difficult it is to get people to step up to take on these big issues and work for their constituents. I definitely think this is the right thing to do, and I hope to have your support for Senate Bill 288.
Representative Rankin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members, if you haven't heard from your county officials about this bill, you're certainly unique. And if you represent multiple counties like I do, you've heard multiple times from a lot of people. So this is, this started off with a recommendation from the County Salary Commission, and they've done a great job. This bill, in the section that covers the counties, does some interesting things. There are currently six categories that a county can fit into for its pay structure. This bill creates 24 structures, 4 within each of those 6, and it leaves it up to the county or where they want to position themselves within that structure. The lowest of those 4 categories is the current salary. The highest raises them right at 30%. They have to come back to us with a recommendation on where they want their salaries to be each year, and we would look at that and vote on that. So the salary structure that's in here for the county solves a long-standing county problem. It does not require them to immediately raise their salaries. They can choose to do that. Now, there are really 3 different sections to this bill. And the second section I'll mention is the state salaries. And let me just give you some numbers here, like a few baseball scores. The governor of Colorado's salary makes him 47th out of 50 governors. The attorney general is 49th out of 50. The secretary of state is 45 out of 46 states that have that. Interesting thing, it applies to both legislators and state elected officials. 1998 was the first time these salaries were changed. Since that time, the cost of living index has gone up 44%. These salary increases raise them about 25%. We're nowhere near catching up with the cost of living increases in those times. So just a few numbers. So we ask for your vote on this bill. It certainly does, way out in the future, increase the General Assembly, but it won't affect you in the next 2 terms. And so we ask for your yes vote.
Is there further discussion on Senate Bill 288? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of Senate Bill 288. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Senate Bill 288 passes. Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Assistant Majority Leader. I move the committee rise and report.
Seeing no objection, the committee will rise and report.
House will come back to order. Mr. Kohler, please read the report of the Committee of the Whole.
Madam Speaker, Committee of the Whole begs leave reports under consideration following tax bills being second reading. Therefore, makes following recommendations thereon. Senate Bills 56 amended, 206, 210 amended, 271 amended, 276 amended, 282, 283, 288, 290 amended. Passed on second reading in order revised, placed on counter for third and final passage.
Representative Moreno. You have heard the motion and there are no amendments. The question before the House is the adoption of the report of the Committee of the Whole. Mr. Kohler, please open the machine and members proceed to vote. I don't. Yes.
Thank you.
What else have we got here? Close the machine. With 63 ayes, no noes, and 2 excused, the report of the Committee of the Whole is adopted. I have one question before we proceed. Where are my tab cans? Oh, well, I was just thinking about it. We are still on the floor. Are we doing announcements and introductions? Yes. Madam former caucus chair, Representative Court.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Finance Committee, we haven't had quite enough fun yet this session, so we are going to go down to room 112 and meet one more time to consider Senate Bill 1 and Senate Bill 135 immediately after we get off the floor, and I mean immediately.
That's okay. Representative Court, we will hold that announcement for a couple minutes.
We'll do it after the bills are introduced. So we can
introduction
go down there. Thank
of
you.
bills.
Senate Bill 1 by Senator Cadman, also Representative Lundin, concerning the refunding of state revenues in excess of state fiscal year spending limit in connection with simplifying the refund mechanism that allows the state sales tax refund, eliminating the refund mechanism that provides for a temporary income tax rate reduction, reducing sales tax revenues and excess state revenues during a fiscal year for which excess state revenues are anticipated through a temporary sales tax rebate in connection with making appropriation.
Senate Bill 1 is assigned to the Committee on Finance.
Senate Bill 135 by Senators Martinez, Humanic, and John, also Representatives Lebsack and Sane, concerning modification of statutory provisions governing urban redevelopment affecting public bodies in connection with urban renewal projects.
Senate Bill 135 is assigned to the Committee on Finance. So, Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Before Finance will meet, I move to proceed out of order for consideration of Conference Committee report on Senate Bill 115.
Mr. Kohler, please read the title of Senate Bill 115.
Senate Bill 115 by Senator Hill, also Representative Pabon, concerning the sunset review of the medical marijuana programs.
Representative Pabon, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I move the first report of the first conference committee on Senate Bill 115.
The motion is to adopt the first report of the first conference committee for Senate Bill 115. Please proceed, Representative Pabon.
Thank you, Madam Chair or Madam Speaker, sorry. And members, what we did was we made sure that the opening and closing times were put into rule. And we also went through some extensive conversations about making sure that the cooling off period, the time when an employee of the Marijuana Enforcement Division who worked there and gained proprietary information about the industry could then move into the industry and potentially utilize and leverage that information for their own pecuniary gain, their own personal gain, their own financial gain. And so we had extensive conversations about making sure that we had that language as tight as possible And that's the extent of our conference committee report. I ask for an aye vote.
Is there discussion, further discussion on the motion to adopt Representative Del Grosso, Mr. Minority Leader?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And members, I know this was one, if you remember back, there was some conversation about people with felonies being able to work in the industry, and there was an amendment that was put on, and I supported that amendment to change that. But since then, I went back and one of the things that I was had the opportunity with Representative Norberg and Representative Pabon and Singer is we were actually on the committee that was charged with doing rulemaking and implementation when it came to recreational marijuana. And the felony piece, when we went back to the recreational marijuana, was something of quite concern, quite debate, many hours of conversation. And those of you that were here, if you remember, that was hours of long debate when it also got to the floor. And there was a group of folks that said, well, if you've ever had a felony for any reason, you should not be allowed to be in the industry. There was those that felt, well, if you had a felony, but it was a drug offense that is no longer something that's against the law, well, maybe we should exempt those people out. And then there were others that said, well, we shouldn't even be that strong. People are looking for jobs. The economy is down. Why should we be putting up roadblocks from allowing people to go have a job? And if you put up a roadblock and people with felonies, as you know, a lot of times it's hard for them to find work as it is. Unemployment rate for those folks is already through the roof. And if we deny them one more place to seek employment, well, you give them one more reason to go out and maybe reoffend or get in trouble, or they can never better themselves. And so the compromise that was put together when it came to recreational marijuana was 10 years. 10 years being off of paper. So if you had a felony for a drug offense, and there's other felonies that could exclude you, but if you had a felony for a drug offense, once you've been off of paper for 10 years, so if you had a 4-year probationary period, maybe you went to jail for 2 years, then you got out, then you had 4 years of probation, 10 years after that, then you could be eligible to be in the industry. And the compromise that we did for recreational, we did that because it's like, should we punish somebody forever for a mistake? And so that was the compromise that was put together, 10 years. And if you've been clean for 10 years after you've paid your debt to society, then and only then you could be eligible to participate in the industry. This medical marijuana act, the sunset review that's here, seeks to make this in parity with recreational. Why should you have one set of rules for medical and then another set of rules for recreation? This makes them the same. That is what this does. This is an important bill that I believe that we need to have passed, because quite frankly, if this doesn't pass, then quite frankly, we can say, well, sometimes regulation is, I'm usually the guy that's arguing for no regulation. Well, the reality is this is a controlled substance in most everywhere in the country except for here. And this has a potential to basically be the wild, wild west if this bill does not pass. So with that, I would urge a yes vote on Senate Bill 115, or concurrence with the conference committee report, and then a yes on 115.
Is there further discussion on the conference committee report for Senate Bill 115? Seeing not, the question is the adoption of the first report of the first conference committee on Senate Bill 115. Mr. Kohler, please open the machine and members proceed to vote. Close the machine. With 57 ayes, 6 noes, and 2 excused, the first report of the conference committee for Senate Bill 115 is passed. Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move for the repassage of Senate Bill 115 as amended.
The motion is for repassage of Senate Bill 115 as amended. Seeing no discussion, Mr. Kohler, please open the machine and members proceed to vote. Close the machine. With 63 ayes, no noes, and 2 excused, Senate Bill 115 is repassed as amended. Co-sponsors. Close the machine. Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move the House stand in recess until later today when finance is done meeting.
The motion is to stand in recess until later today. See no objection, so ordered. We're in recess until later. And Madam Majority Leader, do we have an announcement as to whether we have to come back or not tonight? Yeah, we're going to wait, right? Yeah. So we'll wait for an announcement until the Finance Committee has completed its business. Thank you very much.